The Morristown Green, a central park echoing with the footfalls of Washington and his compatriots during the Revolutionary War, is not merely a serene escape, but a living testament to the town's pivotal role in shaping our nation. Morristown's history seamlessly intertwines with every individual who grew up there, creating a childhood rich in the echoes of the past and a vibrant spirit of community carried forward by each successive generation. These are their stories. This is Beyond the Green.
This is a window into what the original painting would have looked like throughout the first and second hallways of the house when you first entered, painted to look like sandstone block. We're lucky that this still exists because there would have been an elevator here, and the elevator protected the painting, the wall from being painted this beige color. We knew this was here because of the elevator, but what we weren't sure of is where else it was throughout the house. Was it just up here, or did it also appear downstairs? And we had a painting conservator come in and peel back layers of this beige paint to reveal that it is throughout the first and second hall. And we would love one day to be able to conserve it, but we've worked with a historic preservation architecture student to take photos of this and project it so that you can see areas of it projected, so as a visitor you can understand what this would have looked like.
Yeah. Now, right below it here, we have what is Alfred Vail's desk.
Yes. Yeah. So we're very lucky to have both Stephen Vail's desk, and this is one of our most recent donations from a Vail family descendant. So Mr. Stephen Vail, descendant of the Vail family, called and said, "Would you like Alfred Vail's desk?" And we jumped at the opportunity, even though this desk wouldn't have originally sat in this house. It's a significant piece of the Vail family history and telegraph history, because we all know what we do. All the best ideas come at the desk, right?
Yeah.
So.
Do we know? So when was this desk built? Do we know that?
We believe 1830s, 1820s.
Okay. And is the design completely different than what his father had?
Yes, that was a earlier piece.
Yeah. Okay, great. So this is the painting of Stephen Vail.
Yes. So this painting was painted by Samuel Morris while he was working on the telegraph invention with Alfred Vail, Stephen Vail's son. And I have a quote from Stephen Vail's journal about the day he came out here. So according to Stephen's journal, on October 28th, so in a few days, in 1837, Professor S.F.B. Morris of the University of New York, which is today NYU, came here last evening to see us and take Mrs. Vail and my own likenesses. And then on the 29th, he notes, Morris is quite unwell this afternoon. This evening, he took medicine from Dr. Cutler and attended to him. So, and then what's interesting is when I was doing follow-up research, so Samuel Morris's papers are digitized through the Library of Congress. So on November 8th, Morris talks about being here and getting unwell and Bethia nursing him back to health. So I thought it was interesting that he remembers Bethia caring for him, but really it was Dr. Culler that attended him.
Sure.
In Stephen's journal.
Sure.
He probably paid him.
So looking at this painting now, we were saying that Sam Morris was somewhat of a Renaissance man.
Yes. Yeah. So Samuel Morris was an artist and an inventor, which usually go hand in hand. So while Samuel Morris is working on the telegraph, he is also involved with the creation of the daguerreotype. And the daguerreotype is the earliest form of photography. And actually, it becomes a bit of a distraction from pushing forward the success of the telegraph. But another thing Stephen Vail mentions is Samuel Morris coming back here to take a daguerreotype of Speedwell. And unfortunately, we have never found that daguerreotype. So that's yet another mystery that would be amazing to have. And really, if we can find that, that's one of the earliest daguerreotypes, because this is when they're still experimenting with that early form of photography.
Yeah.
And actually, at NYU, Samuel Morris was an art teacher. He painted. He was a famous artist. Some of his pieces hang in the Met. He painted presidents, and so as a professor of art, he was also engaging in invention with other professors at NYU, and that's kind of how he got involved with all of these different things.
Yeah. Do we know from Stephen Vail's journals, was he happy with how the painting came out?
So Stephen doesn't write about that.
Okay.
I have to dig in.
Yeah.
I don't, so we have the quote of when he was here.
Okay.
But I actually don't. I have to see when he finished and when they were delivered here.
Okay.
I do remember him noting he bought the frames.
Okay.
So Stephen buys the frames basically at like a yard sale.
Okay.
But yeah, I have to look. I mean, they're beautiful paintings.
They are.
But he was a critic.
Yeah.
So if anybody's going to have opinions, it's going to be him.
And
so
you would
I'll
think,
have to dig in.
and you would think if you didn't like him, he would write about it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Any
Yeah.
excuse to be grumpy.
Yeah. Yeah.
In his journals.
Okay, so who do we have here now?
So this is Bethiah Vail. So this portrait was painted at the same time as Stephen Vail's. Bethiah was the mother of both Alfred Vail and George Vail, Harriet and Sarah. So after she passes, Stephen does remarry Mary Lidgerwood, but they never have children together. He gets stepsons. We do know that Stephen, when Bethiah passes, of all of their marriages, you can really see the love and the romance is with Bethiah. He's really crushed when she dies, and you can read that he really sees Mary Lidgerwood as a companion. And after she passes, he marries a third time, Phoebe Miller, and they're fighting all the time. And she was significantly younger than him at the time, so they really they were not on the same page in their marriage.
Yeah. But again, in this photo, she was ill in this photo.
She was ill, so unfortunately for a very long time she fought with consumption. And I did notice that she's pictured here on a pillow, and Stephen's portrait is in a chair. It may be that she needed more comfort while she was taking this painting. But it is also interesting to note that she's sick, but she's also caring for Samuel Morris while he was here.
Yeah.
So
They're both beautiful paintings.
yeah. So we're standing here next to the earliest view of Speedwell that we have. So, and we know it's Speedwell because it says view of Speedwell. And if you start to study the picture, you can see a lot of similarities in the layout that we currently have, but there's a lot of differences. So we believe this painting is from the 1790s and could be attributed, it is not signed, but it could be attributed to Charles Jeremiah Ogden, who we've seen similar watercolors in other collections. So if we study this, we can see this would be the slitting mill, and this is during the time period of ownership of the property by the Kinney family. This structure here is in a similar location as the current factory building is, but it is completely different structure. And we do know Stephen writes about moving the factory, so potentially this is where the factory was originally. We have the Vail House, which is pretty similar to what the structure looks like today, but has a whole addition that sticks out into what would have been Speedwell Avenue. And then across the street, if you come to Speedwell and you look across the street, Willow Hall is the home of George Vail, who's Stephen Vail's son, that lived across the street. It's in a completely different orientation. So they took the house down and completely turned it. You can see that there's raised yards in front of the home that don't exist today. It really gives us a window into the early ownership of the property that we didn't have before.
Yeah, even the lake is larger than what it is today.
Yeah.
And the clouds that look like clouds in the background, that was glue?
It's staining, yes. Unfortunately, the original piece was backed with wallpaper. So the original wallpaper glue stained the sky. So we did have the piece conserved. There was a lot of, when it came to us, there was a lot of missing pieces, and they did in painting, but they were not able to fix the staining, because once something's stained, the stain is in there forever.
Yeah, and this is hanging now in the main hallway here in the Vail House itself.
Yes. It's actually, if you come for a tour, it's the first thing that you're going to see.
Perfect. Melanie, we are now in the music room. So what are you standing in front of?
So this is a huge wardrobe that's original to the property. So when the last family descendants of the Lidgerwoods died in 1955, the house later had an auction where they brought everything they could out onto the lawn and auctioned it off. However, the family tried to get this out, and it would not fit through any doorways. So it's a little dinged up because they tried, but they weren't able to get rid of it. So lucky for us, we still have this family piece. And it's interesting because over the years, citizens and people from the community have come back and said, oh, we bought this from the auction, and they've brought it back to us. Okay, so this is Mary Lidgerwood. This is Stephen Vail's second wife. He remarries shortly after Bethia passes. And Mary Lidgerwood has two sons. And her son, John Hedges Lidgerwood, ends up marrying Stephen Vail's granddaughter, Harriet Vail. And after Stephen Vail dies in 1864, Harriet Vail ends up inheriting the property. So the home then becomes the Lidgerwood home. And so the Lidgerwood family continues to live here until the 50s.
Yeah. Great history. I'm sure everybody in town, everything we've talked about today, whether it be the Vails, the Cutlers, the Lidgerwoods, the Canfields, are all familiar with those names here locally.
Yeah. Now you know what those street names mean.